This is the Surly Grognards for June 8th, 2015. This is Peter Bellman, and as usual, I'm joined by my co-host and good friend, Eric Carlson. How are you doing today, Eric?
I'm doing all right.
Good. So, we were sort of sitting about noodling on what to talk about today, and weren't coming up with any good ideas that didn't require more prep work than we had time for.
Because we are bad at prep work. Not so much that we're bad at prep work, so much as we're bad at remembering we have to do prep work.
Yeah. Fortunately, on the comment section on the YouTube episode of last week's episode, Zachary Gerbina asked if we could talk about Star Wars a bit, because the episode we did is not currently up online, because my Blip account was shut down, and I haven't gotten around to figuring out which hard drive I've got it recorded on, and if I can figure out how to upload it. And I guess there's no highlight of it on Twitch. So, we're talking about Star Wars again, because he's going to be running one of the Fantasy Flight Star Wars games soon, so he wants,
I'd like to try that out at some time, the Fantasy Flight Star Wars. I have no interest in proprietary dice, but I don't know. I'd like to give it a shot at some point.
So, we're going to talk about Star Wars today, because, Star Wars.
Yay, Star Wars! Anyway, I like Star Wars. But, where did you want to start on this?
That's a really good question. I mean, there's so many different places we can start. Because Star Wars is, Star Wars.
It has as big or a bigger impact on pulp culture as Star Trek.
It's had a bigger impact on pop culture than Star Trek, I'd say, probably.
That's true. Yeah, you're probably right.
Whereas Star Trek's had a bigger impact on
science fiction in general.
Not just science fiction, but on, science.
That's also very true. I mean, they didn't call it the friggin' Space Shuttle Enterprise because it sounded cool. They called it because of the fucking Enterprise.
There are other things too. I mean, not just that, but they've tried to invent things that were on Star Trek because they thought, I want to have that because that's fucking awesome.
Fucking flip phones, man. There's a reason why I still have one.
Yeah.
And it's because I'm cheap, but sometimes I like to pretend it reminds me of Star Trek.
Well, it does do that, but...
But back to the subject on hand. Star Wars.
So, yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is it's had a big impact on pop culture. I mean, gigantic impact on pop culture.
Yes. To the point where, you're almost, this weird kind of illiterate if you haven't seen it.
There are plenty of people who have not seen the original Star Wars movies. There are plenty of them. I've known a few of them.
Rectified, because they're good.
I agree with you. I know plenty of people who don't like the Star Wars movies, also. The original ones.
I've met one or two of them, but it always strikes me as vaguely baffling. But, some people don't like chocolate.
Yeah,
Or curry. How do you not like curry?
I don't know.
I know people who don't like curry, so it must be a thing.
Yes, there are people who don't like chocolate, there are people who don't like curry, there are people who don't like Star Wars. There are people who don't like cheese, and it's not because they're lactose intolerant.
There are people who don't like scotch, and that's because they are wrong, soulless creatures. He says drinking scotch.
I can understand. I actually understand.
No, I totally understand not liking whiskey or scotch and such. I totally grok. I was making a joke.
I know. I'm just saying. It's just that's one of the I get why people don't like whiskey, don't like that. Yeah. I get why people don't like coffee. I mean, they're wrong, but I get why they don't. Star Wars, I don't so much get.
Here's the thing about Star Wars. It's sort of like the perfect Campbell epic.
Well, it is.
It's yeah.
It's the hero's journey. Star Wars: A New Hope is the our typical hero's journey.
Yes.
I mean, it's the thing I love about the original Star Wars movies, and this is the thing. I can't claim they're great science fiction because they're not. They just simply aren't.
They're great
It's
science fantasy.
Yeah, they are. It's space opera. It's fun space opera. Nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that. They're great. They're great. Rollicking, romping, fun adventure movies.
They happen to have laser swords and space wizards.
Yes.
And an evil samurai in a plastic helmet, and
Yes, it was very heavily influenced by Akira Kurosawa's The Hidden Fortress.
no, that's impossible. I don't believe you.
Just because there are things that are
Totally was beat for fucking beat, but
there are a few differences in the sort of the overall arc to a certain degree.
Yeah.
But there are scenes that are like shot for shot.
it's got space dog fighting.
The Hidden Fortress. There's a scene where there's the scene in Star Wars where R2 and C-3PO are leaving the pod from being after escaping from the for Vader's Star Destroyer, and they land on Tatooine,
Right.
and they're walking away and they're arguing. And they separate and go different directions. That scene and basically the dialogue is in the Hidden Fortress between two characters who are the R2D2 and C-3PO analogs. They're a couple of peasants. And they're funny. They're sort of the comic relief, and it's a great scene. But I mean,
Here's the thing that I really like about Star Wars. Star Wars is it's stuff in space where it looks like space is actually lived in and people exist there.
yeah,
There's sort of certain lived-in grimy dirtiness to a lot of it that
Yep.
I absolutely adore.
sure.
The Millennium Falcon does not look like something from Starfleet. Not that there's anything wrong with Starfleet, but it looks like a tramp freighter that some old smuggler would have. It looks like a friggin' panel van that has a flaking mural of a wizard fighting a dragon on it. It's the space equivalent of that, and I think that's great.
Right. I do like that about the trilogy, the original trilogy specifically.
Yeah, because it's largely absent from the prequels.
Yeah, it's a lot. The prequels are a lot more clinical in their look.
They're sterilized.
Yeah, and part of that makes sense.
Only somewhat. I mean,
For
Even-
outside the stuff set on
even in
Tatooine,
downtown Manhattan, you'll still see clunkers driving around.
sure. But I get why it's not the case on like Coruscant or Naboo for most of the places they do that on.
But Naboo
Tatooine.
doesn't have any people in it.
I was thinking the problem is Tatooine.
Yeah.
Tatooine looks too clean in the prequels.
Yeah, for an entire planet that's effectively like Space Monaco,
Yeah.
except without the thriving trade and export business, or the tourism, or anything that makes Monaco work.
Yeah.
But that brings up another really cool thing about Star Wars. For all the space wizards and the monolithic evil empires and the great bigger than life villains and scrappy heroes fighting against all odds, there's an actual criminal element in there.
Yeah.
That's something that you'd never really seen in science fiction before. There are, in fact, smugglers. There are, in fact, bounty hunters. There's an underbelly to it that you never really saw in Flash Gordon or Buck Rogers or what have you.
Yeah,
Well,
to a degree.
Buck Rogers, it kind of had it. But
Yeah.
thinking
I mean,
about
it popped up in science fiction novels, too. I mean,
yeah.
left and right. I mean,
It was the first time you ever saw it realized on screen.
Sure.
And I love that. I love Jabba's palace, minus the CG Muppet music number.
I liked that, actually. That didn't bother me.
I would have liked it better if it was still done with Muppets.
Sure, but...
The CG just feels really out of place.
yeah, I can't argue that too much, but it doesn't bother me as much as it bothers some people.
I'm pretty harsh on CG, honestly.
understand why. That scene, it didn't fail completely because we're talking about the
The
special
extent
edition.
the special
Right,
editions.
because that wasn't in the original release.
Right. But yeah, I could totally see myself hanging out in Jabba's palace. I'd probably get shot,
Yeah,
but
I was about to say,
okay, maybe more like the Mos Eisley Cantina. That's more my speed. I know not to go and pick fights with the guy with the friggin' pig nose,
yeah, probably.
or the space wizard with the friggin' laser sword, or whatnot.
Oh my god, but yeah, yeah, I, I do love the original trilogy dearly because
Well, it's a good portion of our childhood, also.
that's no small part of it is there's no small part of it that is nostalgia.
And yeah, no one's arguing that there aren't a strong case of nostalgia goggles involved.
I mean, I grew up. I mean, I literally grew up with Star Wars movies. I was 4 when A New Hope came out in the theaters, and I saw it in the theaters when I was 4.
Right.
Yeah, I was 7 when, I was 7 when Empire Strikes
Empire.
Back came out. Saw that in the theaters. I was 10 when Return of the Jedi came out. This is
Yeah, I
like
didn't
the
get to see it in the
cornerstone of my
theaters.
childhood, literally.
I didn't get to see any of them in the theaters, but I did like insist that we get the VHS releases the day they came out.
Right. I still adore watching the A New Hope. It's still one of my
Yeah,
favorite movies.
it's still a good movie. It's here's the thing. It draws it's got a lot of modern pacing to it.
Sort of. It's still slower than a lot of modern movies, and I actually
Yes.
like that about it. It's not hyperkinetic, which is something I have a real problem with a lot of modern movies.
I'll agree with that.
I mean, there's a lot of
There's
modern
nothing
pace.
wrong with a hyperkinetic movie like friggin' like Mad Max is how to do a hyperkinetic movie.
Sure.
Fury Road. You haven't seen it yet. You
No,
need
I'm
to.
not.
Everyone needs to see that movie. That's how you do a fucking action movie. But yeah, back to Star Wars, and yeah, it's slower. The characters have time to breathe, and yes, they're archetypes, but they're well done archetypes.
Yes.
And that's something I think a lot of people forget how to do. Looking at you, Michael Bay.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, I will say this. The other big advantage that the original trilogy has over basically anything else involving Star Wars, to be totally fair, is that Lucas only directed the first one, and that was when people could tell him no.
Yeah, no shit. When the man had actual limits on his ego.
Yeah. I'm not saying Lucas is a bad guy or anything like that. I
I don't
don't,
know.
don't
By all appearances, Lucas seems like a freaking sweetheart.
right, and but he's at the point. He got to the point when he's doing the everything after the original trilogy, where literally nobody. Why would anybody say no to him at that point?
Yeah. And Lucas is definitely one of those creatives that needs limits for him to work around.
Sure.
And it's tough to tell which someone is until you take the limiters off them,
Right.
because some people really need something to rail against while they're working, and some people work best if you don't have anything holding them back.
Right.
And Lucas is definitely a guy that needs something to rail against.
Because it's really astonishing, and I will say this also: Lucas is not the world's best director.
No, he's not.
He's a great producer, and he's a somewhat decent screenwriter. Although I will say this,
He needs a screen doctor.
he does. He's got a certain eye for certain things, though.
The man could do a teaser.
Oh, he is the best. Literally,
Like- That opening teaser in any of the of his friggin' movies are friggin' great.
like literally the only one, like the first 50 minutes of all, but I'd say honestly the first 50 minutes of the original any one of the 3 original trilogy movies
Yep.
and the Phantom Menace are among the best teasers out there. in
I don't even
existence.
remember the one for Attack of the Clones, honestly.
That's the one with the attack on Amidel's double.
Oh, right.
It's okay, but it's not up to the same level.
Yeah.
And the teaser in Revenge of the Sith is actually kind of unwatchable, in my opinion.
I disagree. It definitely suffers from excess. It's the
It's
least
a
good
really
of them.
badly shot action sequence.
It's the least good of them, and it suffers from an overindulgence, and that's a big problem with Avenge of the Sith. It is an overindulgence in special effects,
It's not just overindulgence in special effects. It's
an overindulgence in a lot of things.
it
Although
just,
it's not as bad as A New Hope. Not A New Hope. The Phantom Menace.
as a movie, no, it's not. It's a better movie than A New Hope. I still don't like it, but it's a better movie than A New Hope. Not A New Hope, Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
Its teaser is vastly inferior.
Yeah. No, the teaser for Phantom Menace is really good.
It's like literally, if you were to show that opening sequence, it's like, wow, this movie's gonna kick ass. No, it's not. It's gonna suck now, isn't it?
You know what? The first time I saw that, the glow from the opening teaser lasted up until the big saber fight at the end. And I was like, yeah, that was fun. I enjoyed myself. And then I saw it again. I was like, wait a minute.
I actually the glow started wearing off during the interminably long pod racing scene.
Yeah.
I was going, oh god, why is this so long? Why is there another lap? No, not another lap. Oh god, why?
It was also considerably both less and more cynical back then.
But yeah, but God, Lucas knows how to frame the opening to a movie. I mean, he really does.
Yeah, A New Hope is still like his crowning achievement. With like everything that you need to know about the setup is and the situation is right there. You know, you've got this, oh wow, that's a big ship and it's shooting behind it. I wonder it could possibly challenge. Oh my god, it keeps going.
Yeah, you see the nose of the Star Destroyer coming. You're like, okay, that's impressive. Okay. Oh my god. Wait, it's still going.
It is shooting. How is that little ship that you thought was big at first still there?
Because Star Destroyer is not trying to blow it up; it's trying to cripple it.
It's trying to disable it so that Vader can come over and start slapping some rebels around.
That opening, oh my god, it is one of the greatest hooks of any movie. I mean,
yeah.
There's the hook for
the introduction of Vader also. It's just,
oh my god,
yeah. Vader's. You guys have heard me talk about that scene over and over again, and I can't gush enough about it. Just like the aftermath of this brutal like breaching scene, just like there's smoke everywhere, corpses lying strewn about, two stormtroopers flank the door they had just opened, and this wall of shadow and gleaming black plastic just appears in the door, steps through, looks around at the look like, huh, good work.
And then it advances down the hallway with
purpose. It's like, oh my, I want to be him. I want to be that cool when I grow up. That was literally the first thought in my head.
Without a single word of dialogue.
Yeah.
Vader conveys that he is the biggest badass out there.
Yeah.
You do not fuck with this man. He is going to kick your ass.
Then James Earl Jones's voice comes out of that mask.
That's later. That's like a scene later.
Yeah.
Like literally, the only sound is like the rebreather.
That breathing, that echoing mechanical rasp that follows him everywhere.
It's amazing. It's just oh my god, that is how to introduce a character in film, man.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Best villain introduction in any film I've ever seen.
It's way up on my list. I can't think of one that's better on the top of my head, but I'm not willing to say it's impossible. But oh my god.
It can probably be topped, but I can't think of one.
Right. It's like... But yeah, I was thinking, like, what are the other sort of opening teasers that are, like, in the same ballpark as New Hopes? I mean, outside of the other Star Wars movies. And I'd say, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah. Which Lucas is also involved in.
Funnily enough. Probably... God, I can't remember the movie. Last Crusade. Another Indiana Jones movie.
Lucas.
Yeah. Um, maybe some of the James Bond movies.
Maybe.
Some of them have pretty good teasers. Some of them have less good teasers.
Honestly, for as much as I loathe that movie, the opening teaser for Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Oh, the original Star Trek.
Yeah, where you have the 3 Klingon battle cruisers engaging this and like coming in and like you know, if you watch Star Trek, you know Klingon battle cruisers are fucking scary, and this terrifying droning noise and electric mist, and then you have Klingons panicking and their ships disintegrate. That's another great one.
Yeah, actually, hit my fun in the chat points out the one I was actually going to mention, which is the opening of Wrath of Khan, the Kobayashi Maru.
Yeah.
Just here watching, wait, what the fuck
that's
is...
actually even better. Yeah.
You're like going, oh my god, the Enterprise... It's the Enterprise, where's Kirk? What, Spock's in charge? Everybody is dying. What the fuck?
Yeah.
And then it turns like... And then the reveal happens. You're like, well, fuck.
Oh, well, all right.
Oh, wait, that's not the opening sequence. Is it?
I
Crap, I have to rewatch Wrath of Khan now.
I have to rewatch Wrath
I
of
can't remember if that's the opening sequence or the sequence around SETI Alpha 4 is the...
I think it might be SETI Alpha 4.
Which is still an even better opening, actually. Because that tells you everything you need to know about Khan.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
everything.
the Chekhov, like, inside's like, this seems familiar. SETI Alpha said, we have to go now.
Yeah, Botany Bay. No! Yeah, I think I have to rewatch Wrath of Khan now. Oh no, the horror.
No, whatever shall you do?
One of my all-time favorite movies. Oh god, that movie's so good. But yeah, back to the whole Star Wars thing. I mean, Eric and we adore the original trilogy. I mean,
yeah, they're great. And honestly, I'm going to give props where props are due. The Clone Wars cartoons, both of them. And honestly, as much as I loved Genndy Tartakovsky, the CG one's actually better.
Oh, I agree completely. I think the micro series is wildly overrated. I can understand why people enjoy it, but it doesn't feel like Star Wars.
Well, it is. I will say it is one of our generation's animation auteurs playing in someone else's playground with the gloves off.
Sure, the animation,
and that's just a joy to watch.
The animation is spectacular because it's Genndy Tartakovsky. I mean,
yeah,
he's really, really good. Really,
and he's having a tremendous amount of fun.
Yes,
it comes through in every cell.
Absolutely. And if it wasn't so obvious that he was buying into the Jedi Uber alles,
right?
It's like Jedi are super powerful, and nobody can even remotely in the same ballpark as them. It's like, oh, for fuck's sake, stop it!
Yeah,
as
I will
amazing,
say Jedi annoy the living fuck out of me.
As amazing,
at least what they've become. As
amazing as the animation and sort of choreography of. There's an episode with Mace Windu where he's taking on a Trade Federation army with this giant super weapon thing.
Oh right, the giant death piston.
Right. It is gorgeous.
It's beautifully animated. Like every cell is a work of art.
The cinematics are fantastic. It's choreographed beautifully. The action is great. It pissed me the fuck off. I hate that. What that did for me was I hated Mace Windu after that.
Yeah, fair enough.
That made me. I was like, you know what? Fuck the Jedi. Fuck everyone with the Force.
I used to like Jedi.
I did too.
The problem is, like, and this is long before the Clone Wars, Genndy's Clone Wars series, or even a New Hope, or not a Phantom Menace. Why do I keep on getting those mixed up? I shouldn't ever do that.
You're a bad person, Eric. You shouldn't do that. Yes.
Oh, but I would just from like the video games and the books and the comics,
and the role-playing games.
I'm already sick of fucking Jedi.
Absolutely, I agree completely.
Like, I don't care about Jedi. I thought they were cool, but they weren't as cool as the stuff that surrounded them. They weren't as cool as bounty hunters or stormtroopers or smugglers or Wookiees or Rhodians or Trandoshans or any of the or space fighters or any of the other things that surrounded Jedi. The Jedi were just the guys with laser swords.
Honestly, as much as I love Knights of the Old Republic, I partially blame it for... Oh, that's not entirely its fault. Honestly, as much as I like the... much as I like the Star Wars role-playing games, and I'm talking about all of them, because I've enjoyed all of them in their own way. Even if I do think all of them are flawed, because they're all flawed. They've all had the problem where it's, oh, do you use the Force? If not, wow, you suck compared to the guys who use the Force.
Yeah.
And it's like... but that's not the point in the original trilogy. Like, yeah, Luke is really dangerous, and the Emperor is really powerful and all this stuff, but the people who aren't Force users are all badasses too, and they get to look
like
badasses.
Except for Boba Fett, who looks like a fucking chump at every turn.
Yes, and I find that hilarious to this day.
Yes, honestly.
The more people point out how much of a chump Boba Fett is, the more I giggle.
Yeah, honestly, as far as powered armored bounty hunters go, Boba Fett's nothing compared to Samus Aran.
Well, no, of course not. Samus would kick his pansy ass.
She really would, even after the abomination that was Other M.
Yeah, as I said before, Boba Fett has to be told no disintegrations. Then later people are all like, Boba Fett is the best bounty hunter ever!
Yeah.
To be fair, he does catch Han.
He does catch Han, yes. He is clever enough to, and has strong enough detective skills to go, I don't think cloaking devices really do work for something that small. I'm willing to bet if I were him, I'd be hiding right up against their shadow, up against their hull in their sensor shadow. So I will do the same thing and wait for them to leave.
And then follow them.
I was right.
Yep. And I give Boba Fett credit for that. I give him credit for nothing else, but I give him credit for that. Okay, I'll give him credit for his fashion sense. That armor's pretty pimp.
The Mandalorian armor is kick-ass. There's no denying that.
See, I have problems calling it Mandalorian armor because I hate everything associated with Mandalorians nowadays.
Again, they've gotten a little too much exposure.
So it's like, yeah, it's Boba Fett's armor. I'm willing to call it that. Because fuck the Mandalorians. They're morons.
Yeah. There's something... I don't know. I'm a sucker for space Vikings. That's more or less what the Mandalorians are. They're not as cool as space Vikings, but credit where credit is due. They give it a good try.
At any rate, but
and awesome armor.
I mean, Eric and I both love the original trilogy to pieces.
Yes.
I can't think of a character like an actual major important character in the original trilogy that I dislike. Like, I like Luke. I love Han. I love Leia. I love Chewie. I love C-3PO is great. R2-D2 is great in the original trilogy. Obi-Wan Kenobi is the fucking man. Yoda rocks. Vader is one of the best villains of all time. The Emperor is another great villain.
Yeah, the snide, oily, just Schadenfreude oozing off of the Emperor in the Return of the Jedi.
Oh my god.
It's perfect.
The guy who plays him, I can't remember his name right now.
I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
So good.
And that when he turns around and plays Palpatine in the prequels, like he's the best
so
part
good.
of those
oh my god,
movies.
Yeah. It's him and Ewan McGregor, honestly.
Yeah, they're the saving grace of those movies.
But it's like I love the original trilogy, and it's like these characters are great. And Lando Calrissian, oh my god, Billy Dee Williams is so
great.
Great, he's so badass and cool. He's great. I love him.
It's like, yeah, I've got a really shitty choice to make, and I just realized I chose wrong. So I'm going to do everything I can to make up for it. Sorry, guys.
I mean, it's really well done. I mean, I love that. Oh, God. It's just, and the visuals in those movies are just so pretty.
Yes.
like Bespin, the Cloud City thing. Oh my God, that's
Yeah.
gorgeous.
Yeah, that's really great. The whole fight between Darth and Luke in Bespin is just beautifully done.
That is, in my personal opinion, by and far the best lightsaber duel in the entirety of Star Wars.
Yes, because it has a whole ton of dramatic tension also.
It's basically yeah, and I love how Vader's using the Force in that. It's like yeah, he's got telekinesis, but he's not like doing crazy. He's throwing things at Luke, and it's not like, and because of the limitations of special effects, it makes it seem like yeah, this is an advantage, but it's not like I can never overcome this.
Yeah, and more to the point, because of the limitations of being able to move in the costume, what they do is they give Vader an almost contemptuous economy of movement.
Oh my God, the way he parries that first strike by Luke,
Yeah, he
by
just
turning
turns
on
off
the lightsaber.
Like, holy shit!
That's the
And that's my biggest complaint about the saber duels in the prequels is why can't Anakin do that? Why can't Anakin have that sort of contemptuous economy of movement? Like, sure, have Obi-Wan and everyone else jumping around doing like buzzsaw lightsaber attacks and zipping all of this. Just have Anakin just sort of sitting there and just sort of like Batmaning his way through.
Well, the big thing is that the fight choreography went from being based on kendo and over toward more sort of Hong Kong style action movies.
Right.
And so you've got a very different sword fighting style between the two sets of movies, and I think it's, as much as I love that sort of thing. I love that style of action. I do, and it wouldn't bother me if it was the fact that it wasn't what I expect out of Star Wars action scenes.
I didn't even mind it in like the Phantom Menace because it's a beautiful fight in the Phantom Menace.
Oh, that fight's oh my God, that's a great. It's a good fight scene. It is not either of the. It's not as good as either of the Luke Vader fights.
That's
which are,
true.
By and far, both those are the.
Because the tremendous amount of tension lent to them,
and the emotional weight in both those fights.
Yes,
oh my God.
just these. Everything from every previous scene is built up to this conflict, and in a Phantom Menace, it's just, hey, look, I'm a scary guy with tattoos and horns. I'm gonna fight you.
It's a badass fighting two other badasses in an action
fight.
scene.
It's a beautiful fight, but it doesn't have nearly as much of the dramatic tension.
None. Yeah, and none of the fight scenes do in any of the prequels, except kind of the final fight between Obi-Wan and Anakin.
Yeah, except it's marred by
bad dialogue.
Not even the poor dialogue. It's almost part of Star Wars. Star Wars has never had great dialogue.
Yeah, I hate to admit it. As much as I love the original trilogy is flawed, and the dialogue is not one of its strong suits. There's some great lines, but ooh.
But again, it comes back to the whole idea of overindulgence, and that you see all over the prequels. And that fight could have been so much better if they just executed a bit of restraint.
Yep. I'd agree completely with that. Actually, the biggest thing that the big difference between the prequels and the original trilogy, in terms of, because the dialogue isn't that much worse than the original trilogy. It's in the prequels. It's worse. Don't get me wrong. It's definitively worse. There is some dialogue there that is not how humans speak. Humans do not talk like this.
Chatbots don't talk like that.
People who are in love with each other do not talk like this most of the time.
Well, part of it is...
That said...
It comes back to people telling Lucas no. Like,
right.
No one was allowed to actually act in the prequels.
Like...
Natalie Portman is a brilliant actress, and I didn't buy a line that came out of her mouth.
Oh my God.
Samuel L. Jackson is a brilliant character actor. He pretty much sort of sits there and picks his nose the whole time and reads off a teleprompter.
Oh God, but seriously,
all the shit Hayden Christensen eats, I can't judge his acting ability based on those movies because it's obvious Lucas was just crushing everyone's attempt to emote.
Outside of Ewan McGregor, basically.
Yeah, who I'm pretty sure just pretty much ignored him.
Well, I think Lucas let him go because he was doing such a good Alec Guinness impersonation.
Yeah, probably.
It's just like, wait, what? That was spooky. But I was gonna say is like the dialogue between Leia and Han isn't that much better written than the dialogue between Padme and Anakin. It's better. It is better written.
Selling it is the difference.
But Carrie Fisher and Harrison Ford's delivery of those lines, and the way they sort of they emote around the lines, and the fact that Irving Kirsch
scruffy looking.
And the fact that Ford actually improvised a few lines because he's like, no, that's not what Han would say here.
Yeah.
I love you. I know.
And I know. Yeah.
Improvised, and everyone said, yeah, that's better than what was written.
That's the way it should be done.
Han is exactly like that.
And that's how you know that Lucas wasn't the director.
Yeah, Kirshner said, rock. Because Kirshner is a great director.
Yes.
And it's why Empire is definitively the best Star Wars movie.
Absolutely. Which is funny, because the middle movie usually isn't the best in a trilogy.
Here's the funny thing. When I was a kid, I didn't like it as much.
Oh,
do you know why?
Why?
When I was a little kid. Because remember, I was 7 when I saw it.
Right.
Guess why I didn't like it? Because it had a downer of an ending. The bad guys win.
Oh, that's why I loved it when I was a kid.
Right.
Because everything I had ever seen, the bad guys never win, even though they clearly should. Every episode of G.I. Joe or Transformers, it's like the good guys win despite the fact that the bad guys clearly had every advantage.
Yeah, but
and in the Empire Strikes Back, the bad guys clearly have every advantage. And wait, are you kidding? They win?
How old were you?
Wow.
How old were you when you actually saw it?
I don't know, like 6 or 7?
So you're about the same age. Yeah, I didn't like it as much then. I don't know, but like, when I was like 13, I hit me like, wait a minute. This movie's fucking brilliant. Like, I just missed a lot of the subtle stuff that I think is actually brilliant about it.
There are some movies like that that you love as a kid and then you love more when you grow up. They're few and far between, but
yeah, I mean, I don't get me wrong. It's not that I didn't like Empire Strikes Back. I did. I loved the movie because it was fucking Star Wars.
Right. I would not accept that Darth Vader was dead at the end of Return of the Jedi.
I did, but I was, by then I was, I was 10. I was, I was like, I bought into the whole sort of, these Vader story arc leads to him dying. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I was just like, no way. Darth Vader's the best. He can't die. He's too cool for that.
But that's the thing.
So,
he's
like,
so
actually,
cool.
in my head, I convinced myself that Empire actually was the last movie. Because that's the one where he wins.
But that's the thing, is Vader's so awesome, he gets to die at the end.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
No, I totally agree with that now, but
right.
When I was 7, it's like, no, clearly Vader wins at the end, because he's Darth fucking Vader.
But the thing is, he does win at the end, he just dies. Because
but I'm like fucking 7. I don't understand things like redemption.
Well, it's not just redemption. It's the old, he beats the Emperor.
Yeah.
It's like he makes a choice and succeeds. It's like, well, fuck. Again, it's one of those things that it's not as obvious, but at any rate, yeah. Eric, so we love the original trilogy despite its flaws. We love the characters. The action scenes are often just immense fun.
Darth Vader is still the best.
Darth Vader is amazing. The visuals are great, and there's a lot of that stuff that you can look at the prequels and say, yeah, that's there. Where'd the soul go?
Yeah, and that's a big problem with it. And here's the thing, like, the Clone Wars, the CG Clone Wars series took a while for it to find its feet, but once it did, it was...
Yeah, it was born out of that really awful CG movie.
Yeah, with terrible, terrible quality of animation.
And
like, seriously, it was just abysmally bad. And it wasn't Food Fight bad, but it was bad.
And somehow they managed to turn it around and make a good series out of it. The problem with it, as always, is that like with a lot of prequel stuff, you sit there going, I know where this is going. And it's not going somewhere good in this case. Like, you're building up all these emotional connections to the clone troopers, and you're like, but I know that they're going to be given Order 66 and turn on all the Jedi and kill them all. Like, all the Jedi that, like...
But they have the last season that got released on Netflix, like, totally explains that, and it's a terrifying spy thriller.
I don't doubt it.
Like that story arc is a terrifying paranoid spy thriller, as one of the clone troopers finds out that they all have biochips.
Right.
And he puts two and two together and goes, "Oh my god, I have to warn everyone."
Oh, I've heard you guys talking, you and Eric and Chris talking about it. I'll watch it at some point. But like, again, the problem is that it's like I'm sitting here going, I know what's going to happen, and they've been like making you care about these clone troopers. They've been making you care about the Jedi. And
the
you're
best
like,
episodes are the ones centered around the clone troopers,
right?
Like hands down.
But it's like oh my god, it's just like it's headed for a tragedy, but you know what the tragedy is ahead of time, and that's a problem. Yeah. It hurts the show somewhat.
I don't necessarily agree, because you see that tragedy ahead of time, and you see all these great emotional bonds form, like the one between Anakin and Ahsoka. Ahsoka's great, by the way.
Oh, she's great, but
and that whole time you're thinking, this is going to end in tears, and I have to enjoy it now before it goes bad.
The problem is that there are a lot of sort of like tough decisions and heroic choices that people make that don't matter.
Right.
And
but
that's
also,
it's not even.
I'm a sucker for doomed heroism.
But it's not even doomed heroism.
It absolutely is.
No, that's
because
no.
It's doing the right thing in the face of failure.
But they don't know they're doing it in the face of failure. It's the fact that you, the viewer, know they're going to fail ahead of time. That's a problem. That's a storytelling problem. It's why prequels are problematic always.
Yes, prequels typically have that problem, but
And in Clone Wars, I'm not saying it makes Clone Wars bad. I'm saying it's a limitation on the series. It hurts it somewhat. It makes it less good than it could have been. It could have been amazing.
I don't know.
The problem is that sort of thing makes me care less about the characters because I know they're doomed.
You see that
I can't get invested in them. I can't get invested.
I know that they're doomed, and because of that, I feel like I have to enjoy them while they still have a chance.
Yeah, I just can't get invested in them. It's the same problem I have with a lot of old. Like it's actually very similar to the problem I have with a lot of old versions of Dungeons and Dragons. I can't get invested in my early characters at low levels because I know they're probably going to die randomly at some point. So I don't.
Fair enough with that. I totally get.
But it's the same thing. It's like this character's doomed. Why put any effort into getting attached to him?
I totally understand that. I totally get that. Don't worry. But it's just from it's different from a storytelling perspective for me, anyway.
I can understand that. As I said, it's just one of those. Okay,
at any
rate,
Rebels, like the new one, Rebels, is good. It kind of wasn't for a little while. Then it started finding its feet.
I haven't watched it yet.
It seems to be a theme with Star Wars cartoons.
Yeah. I personally am not a fan of the micro series, but I understand why people do like it.
Like I said, it's one of our greatest animation auteurs going nuts in someone else's playground and basically having Ferguson to do whatever he wants.
Azul brings the point.
I don't watch for that.
Azul brings the point that, but you know, Spike is going to die in Bebop. Yes, but it's a different genre. Genre matters a lot.
It does sort of matter, yeah.
Star Wars is a space opera. You're allowed to have dark points in space opera, but the good guys win in the end. The problem is that Clone Wars the cartoon, and again, I'm not saying Clone Wars the cartoon is bad. It's not. It's really good. I really like it. But I'm less invested in it than I could have been. And honestly, I'm not that invested in Spike the character in Bebop. Because he's doomed. With a capital D.
You see,
and an accent mark over
makes
the E.
Me love them all the more.
He is not just doomed; he's doomed. The characters I'm invested in Bebop are Faye and Jet and Ed.
Yeah,
Spike is an awesome character. He's cool. He's great, but he's not the heart of the show.
Yeah,
and that's the thing.
I'll definitely agree. It's definitely Jet and Faye that are the heart of the show.
Right. Jet, so that's the difference. And with Clone Wars, the heart of the show are the clone troopers.
Yes.
And they're fucked. And you know they're fucked.
And here's the thing, like, just the show's at its best, so it's not even concentrating on Rex and Cody, but on the the like disposable ground pounders.
Oh, they're great. I said I
Like,
love the
those
clone
guys are
troopers.
great. They're
It
like,
literally, if this was not technically part of Star Wars and didn't say Star Wars on it, it literally would be one of the best sci-fi animated space opera animated shows ever.
yeah.
It's amazing. It's really good. You could take that same story and like separate it from Star Wars, and it would be amazing. And you plug it into Star Wars, and it's still really good. But that all of a sudden you realize you know what's going to happen, and it hurts it. That's the problem. It removes some of the mystery. Is the problem?
I kind of get. I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can see where you're coming from. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh no.
But I have the opposite thing. I know where it's going. I know it'll all end in tears, and that makes me love it all the more.
But yeah. The prequels neither of us are fond of. There are parts of them we both like.
Revenge of the Sith is so close.
It's 2/3 of a good movie, at most.
There are just some obvious fundamental flaws in that movie.
The ending
Not
is so
even
bad.
counting Lucas's friggin' addiction to green screen. That
Oh my
sinks
god,
it.
the ending. Those last 15 minutes.
No.
That isn't even the real problem. Padme. Padme dies. Because why?
You know what?
Nobody
If they
knows!
just put in a throwaway line like, "We don't know anything about human physiology. Why did you bring her here? I
Anything.
think we can save the babies, but we don't know what's going on."
Ugh.
All you needed to fix that scene. She could have died to something ridiculously easily preventable, but they were just like, "Do we cut here? Do you have to cut human babies out? I don't know. How do you fit the whole human through that orifice? I don't get it. They must have to burrow their way out. But they don't have claws. How does this work?"
But at any rate, actually, I was watching Ursula. She does a review show called Things I Like, which great show. I really recommend her. She's been doing stuff on the prequels, and her comment on that bit is like, there's been a fan theory about that the whole way that the reason that she died is because of the Emperor, and basically him taking her connection with Anakin and drawing on her life force to make sure Anakin survives and becomes Vader.
You know what? That would have been pretty awesome if they had done that.
That's great. It's perfect.
All they needed was something to show that was what was happening. That's even better than my explanation.
Right. The actual
it shows just how vile the Emperor is.
Yes. But the actual official throwaway explanation they kind of have in the movie is that she died of a broken heart, which is technically kind of possible.
Sure, if the Emperor is friggin' feeding off her life force to pump into Anakin to keep his withered, charred friggin' torso pumping.
People have effectively died of that sort of thing. Died because from emotional reasons like that. It
Yes.
happens. But it's fucking stupid in a movie. I'm sorry. And it's like half-assed explained away. It's just like, no. Also, it contradicts the original trilogy.
Yeah.
Because, Leia actually remembers her mother, and no, she doesn't, if that's what happened.
You know what? I think so much of the prequels contradicts with the original movie.
Yes, it does, because
not having Padme die, but be reduced to a
bedridden
simpleton because of the Emperor's malfeasance, having her mind be gone, that would have been great.
Honestly, just having her be because Leia's memory of her is that she was beautiful but sad.
Yes.
And having her basically just be, heartbroken because of what Anakin did to her and bedridden for life because of what Anakin did to her is fine.
Yeah, because the whole, strangling you with the brain powers.
Right. So all of a sudden, having her just be basically, basically bedridden and just crushed emotionally. Why did Lucas have to kill her?
Yeah. So apparently, I haven't read it, but I've read about it. Marvel's new Star Wars series, set between the movies, adds some interesting canon moments there that are now canon.
Right.
One of the scenes I read was Luke and Fett fight because Vader sends him out to get this friggin' guy that blew up my fucking Death Star.
Right.
And Luke manages to fend off Fett because Fett's a chump.
Yes.
But he gets back and he's reporting to Vader. And Vader's like, and he's like, so he got away. Well, did you get me anything useful? Well, I got a name, which was Skywalker. Leave. And the next panel is the viewport Vader is looking at shattered. And just the thought bubble, I will have him. I will have everything. And that's great because it shows that, oh, he knew about Luke before the Emperor ever made a move against him.
Right.
And he's been planning this for long. He's been planning his coup for a long, long time.
Right. Yeah.
And you know what? That's a great little bit of canon to add.
Yeah.
It shows Vader. It reinforces that Vader is a scary motherfucker.
Well, yes. Vader is one of the great sci-fi villains of all time. I mean, he's.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of sci-fi villains I like better than him. I mean, it's him.
I don't like villains. Period. Better than him.
I know.
I don't like most heroes better than Vader.
I know. I'm just thinking of sci-fi villains I like on par with him. I should say.
Khan's close.
Khan's close. Scorpius is close.
Scorpius, yes. General Chang from 6.
He's not quite. He's not in the same ballpark as those guys.
I like Chang.
Deathlock, probably.
Yeah. My boy Bretai.
Bretai, yes. Although he's less of a villain. As more of an antagonist.
He does destroy Earth.
Yes.
He does bombard Earth into a wasteland.
I know.
That's pretty villainous.
Yeah.
It's not until he awakens to the joys of J-pop.
Fair point. I don't get me wrong. Bretai's awesome. Do not get me wrong.
Yeah, how much does your culture have to suck that Min-Mei is your cultural awakening?
Pretty badly.
Like, how much does your entire culture have to suck that Lin Min-Mei is your artistic epiphany?
Well, we've seen them. We've seen what their culture's like, Eric. It makes perfect sense, in all honesty. Dear God, it would suck to be a Zentradi.
Yeah, it would.
Oh my God. But yeah, like Vader's just way up there on the list of all-time great villains. I mean, and him and Palpatine together, honestly.
Yeah.
Scorpius is right there with them, but
yeah. And I'm counting Helpful Harvin with Scorpius.
well, yeah, of course.
Helpful Harvey's hilarious.
He is hilarious. I mean, like literally Deathlock / Dessler, either version. Like Dessler from 2199 is such a magnificent bastard.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like the scene where he has his speech and he just his people are just awash in adoration for him, and he's thinking of how simple and predictable people are and how tired he is of humans. He's tired of them. And it's like, oh my God, you are so good at manipulating people, and you are such a prick.
Cube from Madoka Magica.
Yes.
He's still the biggest bastard of any villain I've seen. Like, I've seen ones that are more outwardly malicious, but none that were so callous.
He's up there. It's sort of, I'm debating whether it's sci-fi or not, but yeah, he's in there. Ooh.
Like, yeah, Bunny Cat's a dick. To quote Sci-Fi Debris, a viewer I enjoy.
Yes. Zenith Chat says, Scorpius Vader combo would be a shitstorm to be with. Yes!
Yes. Yes, I'm certain there was a Farscape Star Wars crossover at some point.
There's almost certainly a Farscape Star Wars fanfic crossover somewhere. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the two of those guys just be...
Well, they get on each other's nerves instantaneously.
Yes!
Like,
They're so different.
Yes.
Well, because the thing is that Scorpius psychologically is more like Tarkin.
Yes.
And Tarkin and Vader hated each other's guts.
Yes.
They respected the fuck out of each other's abilities and power.
They absolutely despised one another, yes.
But they hated each other. They're like, oh, God, you're good at what you do, but I hate the fuck out of you.
Yeah, because Scorpius would see Vader as nothing more than a dumb thug, and Vader would just be, like, up to his rebreather with Scorpius's attitude.
Right. The thing is, Vader's not a dumb thug.
No.
But he is a thug.
Vader's not a dumb thug, but he will play the part if there's an advantage to it.
Absolutely.
And he does so masterfully in a couple places.
Yep.
The bit where they're
yeah, Scorpius
in A New Hope, where they're arguing at the table about what to do about the rebel threat and these new force shimmerings that are happening, and Vader just plays the part of the big dumb attack dog, even though he's the one that knows what's up, and he and Tarkin clearly have a better grasp of what's going on. Vader knows his part. That's the part of the attack dog.
The Tarkin's Vader release is so dripping with disdain, though. It's just
yes.
Like, he's like, oh, for fuck's sake, Darth. For
like,
fuck's sake, Vader.
Calm down.
Just release him.
To be fair, like, Tarkin's right, dude. You don't just, like, drop valuable officers left and right because they've annoyed you.
Oh, and Vader was willing to let him go. Like, I think
Yeah.
Vader knew that Tarkin would tell him to let him go at that point. He's like, yep. And there he is, right?
Yeah, it's not until he figures out where Luke is and what Luke represents where he starts dropping people for annoying him.
It's less for annoying him. It's for being unconscionably incompetent.
He kills Piet, though.
No, he doesn't. He never kills Piet.
Yes, he does.
No, he doesn't.
Admiral Piet?
No, Piet lives...
We lost him.
That wasn't Piet.
That wasn't Piet?
No, Piet lives through all three movies. He dies in Empire, in Return of the Jedi.
You're right.
He dies with a Super Star Destroyer crashing into the Death Star.
You're right. The one who says, we lost him, it's my fault, I'll take responsibility.
Yeah, he goes to personally apologize. I'll go apologize to Lord Vader personally. That is a stupid move. You are basically saying, I screwed up, it's all my fault, you have to place all the blame on my head.
Which, given what he's seen happen to his...
And given how incompetent Admiral Ozzel, who basically ignored Vader's orders, was wrong, and gloated about being wrong over VidCom.
Well, Ozzel didn't survive that VidCom call.
No, because Ozzel was a fucking moron! Now, I wouldn't have killed him, because I'm not a sociopath the way Vader is. But you don't do that with someone like Vader. He's going to kill you. I think Tarkin would have had him shot.
Yeah, I think Tarkin would have had him shot. Tarkin might not have had him shot, but would have had him humiliated, demoted, and then quietly disposed of when no one was looking.
He would end up dead.
Because it would have been bad for morale to execute him publicly.
I'm not sure
it was nothing if not aware of the power of morale.
Yeah, I'm not sure it was entirely bad for morale. Because it was very clear this guy was a moron. Everyone around him knew he was a moron.
Yeah.
And he was not good for morale, so Vader taking him out was actually probably a good thing for the morale. Now, the other admiral, whose name escapes me, the one who went to apologize to Vader, basically was hanging a "Please kill me" sign around his neck.
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say he's going to kill everyone on this station unless I take the blame.
Oh, sure.
He's going to kill everyone on this Star Destroyer, and I have to watch out for my men. That's what commanding officers do.
But I will point out, at the end of Empire, when the Millennium Falcon escapes out from underneath Piet's nose, Piet sees it happens, knows they probably could have gotten them if he and his men had been a little quicker. What does Piet do? Doesn't apologize, turns around, he just lets Vader
Just
know
walks
that
away.
he just
Yeah.
and Vader looks at him and goes, "Huh, well, fuck."
Yeah.
He doesn't say we're incompetent, we screwed up. It's they got away. Oh well, they were better
Yeah,
than
he
us this
goes,
time.
they got away, and then he turns and walks away as quickly as he can get away with.
And Vader has no. Vader's like, yeah, I'm not going to bother. There's no reason to kill him.
You're
here.
aware of your mistake, and you're not an idiot. Okay.
Right. Piet figured Vader out.
I cannot admit weakness in front of Vader. That's the big thing.
Right. I can't admit weakness in front of Vader because that makes me look weak, and Vader cannot tolerate people in important positions looking weak.
Yeah.
There's a reason I think Piet's one of my favorite Imperial officers in the entire thing. He's like, oh well, right. Say nothing.
Damn, how could I forget his like famous line? Intensify forward power. I don't want anything to get through.
Right. Oh, poor Piet. Well,
He does go out like a boss, though.
Yeah.
I mean, having a starfighter crash into your face is a pretty good way to go.
And then the scene with the Super Searcher crashing into the Death Star, pointing out how big the Death Star is because it looks flat.
Yes.
See, this thing is, and that makes sense. It would look flat in that situation.
Yeah, because it's bigger than the original.
Yeah, and the original was the size of a small moon.
Yeah.
And even something a mile long will look like it's crashing something flat if it crashes like that. And the Super Star Destroyer is bigger, but so is the new Death Star, so.
Yeah. And Super Star Destroyer is an order of magnitude bigger than Star Destroyers.
Yes. It's fucking gigantic, because Empire is not subtle.
Empire does not believe in subtlety.
No. Not even a little bit. But yeah, so as I said, I think it's pretty clear we both love Star Wars. We both love the original trilogy. There are things in the prequels we like, but for the most part,
yeah.
There's like
blemishes on an otherwise sterling record. Honestly,
if you could probably pull a good movie out of the entirety of the prequels, and if you were to
the Phantom edit did make it online. I have seen it.
It's better.
Not great, but it is much better.
Yeah, and the rest of the sort of associated other stuff out there is a mixed bag.
Yeah.
The Clone Wars CG cartoon's pretty good. The micro series
Rebels doesn't suck. It started getting better towards the last.
I've not seen it, so I can't comment on that.
The last third to a quarter is actually really good.
The micro series,
a lot of it is just building up to that point.
Right. The micro series is most people like it. I'm an exception, so.
I can't help but love it,
and that's fine.
I
get why people
sucker
like
for
it.
decent animation.
I get why people love it, but I don't. Most of the books are kind of crap.
Yeah. No,
like
I'll
the best ones are definitively Timothy Zahn's Thrawn trilogy.
Yeah.
They're not that good. They're okay.
Some of the comics are pretty good.
I've
Legacy,
not read.
I think it was Legacy. I really enjoyed.
I've not read a Star Wars comic I've liked. I don't like most of the expanded universe. I'll be completely honest. I think most of it is
perfectly understandable.
But I've not read a ton of the comics. I read the Dark Empire graphic novel, which was awful.
I liked it when I was much, much younger, but yeah, having reread it in the past few years.
I mean, it's Death of Superman bad.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say it's that bad, but it wasn't good.
It was that bad. It was pretty fucking awful. It had
more to it than it had a lot more to it than I'm just going to kill Superman by punching him a lot, and that'll be the extent of my character.
I'm not going to argue that point. It's still pretty fucking awful. Yeah, the books, for the most part, kind of ass. I've heard okay things about the Rogue Squadron books by Stackpole. I've not read them. I haven't read
those.
I haven't either. Stackpole's not a great author, but he's usually a fun read.
Yeah, I know him purely through his BattleTech work, honestly.
And again, those are fun reads, but they're not great books.
And now my mech explodes, because shut up, that's what fusion reactors do. No, that's not what they do. They do in my universe.
Let's see, what else? The video games, Love Knights of the Old Republic. Love
That's the Old Republic. The Old Republic MMO doesn't suck. It's not great. It suffers from trying to be all things to all people.
Yeah, it's too much a WoW clone on its own, on top of everything else.
Yeah.
But it's a goofy, fun, free to play MMO. It's worth dabbling in, I guess, if you really love Star Wars, especially the older era stuff. And some of the storytelling is very good because it's BioWare.
Yeah, because BioWare knows how to tell a fucking story.
Knights of the Republic 2, I'm not a fan of, mostly because it's trying to be Planescape Torment in Star Wars.
I actually haven't played Knights of the Old Republic 2.
It wants to be good,
Right.
but it doesn't. It's just not Star Warsy. Is its problem? It's 2 Shades of Grey is its problem.
Right.
And I like Shades of Grey, but not in Star Wars.
You can do Shades of Grey in Star Wars, but you have to build it entirely around the criminal underworld.
And even then, I'm not a big fan of that. I get tired of it, and it just doesn't. Again, ends up not feeling Star Warsy to me. It ends up feeling.
I can understand that.
It ends up feeling like generic sci-fi, and that sort of makes me sort of go.
I can understand why you'd feel that way, but the criminal underworld and the fact that it exists and that it's so diverse is one of the reasons why I love Star Wars.
Sure.
And it's
and
like,
I have no problem with that.
It's such. Its presence is so missed in the prequels.
Yes, I agree completely.
It to a massive detriment.
I agree completely. And I like I have no problem with these sort of criminal underworld stuff and playing that, but it so often doesn't capture the sort of more sort of over the top space opera feel of Star Wars for me is the problem.
I can understand that criticism.
It too often ends up being generic, gritty underworld sci-fi, stuff, and it ends
Which
up
I'm also a sucker for.
I think that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's not fucking Star Wars. And if I'm playing a Star Wars game, I want it to feel like Star Wars.
I can kind of understand that, but you'll never catch me dead playing a fucking Jedi.
You don't have to play a Jedi.
Jedi have become elves for me.
I know, and it's sad. Because Jedi used to be kind of
really
cool.
Is. Jedi have become Space Marines for me.
Because Obi-Wan was fucking cool!
Obi-Wan was cool as shit. Darth Vader is the fucking man.
Luke was actually pretty okay.
Yeah,
Yoda was pretty awesome.
For all the teasing we give Luke for being a whiny little bitch, it's all affectionate cheesing.
Yes! What happened to the Jedi?
Well, one of the things I think that does work from the prequels, actually, is that is the obvious sickness that's in the Jedi.
Oh, sure.
Like, they're clearly going to fall because they're so corrupt, and not like in an obvious kickbacks kind of way, but they've so bought into their own
bullshit
mythos. And they're so incestuous in the way they look at things, and so convinced of their own infallibility. Of course, they're going to fall. Hubris of the Jedi is their
absolutely.
Yes.
There's a line that encapsulates it perfectly. Only the Sith deal in absolutes.
Yes.
And that's just like, oh my God! Did you say that with a straight face? Ah! It encapsulates everything perfectly.
Yeah.
But at any rate, the X-Wing and TIE Fighter games are fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Those
the
are
Rogue Squadron video game.
But yeah,
X-Wing, the old N64, that was great. I had so much fun with that game. Especially once I unlocked the TIE Interceptor.
Those are great. They're lots of fun. In TIE Fighter, once you get to the TIE Defender, it gets silly because the TIE Defender is silly. But we'll ignore that. Star Wars Battle. I've heard nothing but good things about Star Wars Battlefront.
Battlefront! I forgot all about Battlefront. Yeah, that game's fucking great. I love Battlefront.
Yeah. And there's some other good games
Both
there.
1 and 2.
There's some really dumb games out there too. Like I watched someone playing the
Shadows of the Empire.
And oh god, the Fortune Unleashed games. I look at those. I just can't. I look at those and I'm like, they are literally everything I hate about Jenny Tartakovsky's microseries. I'm just like,
Oh right, I remember
Watching,
Force
watching,
Awakens.
like, watching, like, The Apprentice pulling Star Destroyers out of space with the Force. I'm like, no, fuck you.
Yeah, yeah, I remember
Fuck
that now.
you!
That was
Fuck
dumb.
you!
I remember
Fuck
seeing that in a
you!
trailer and going, "Why would I play this game?"
That literally was me just like, that literally made me flip the screen off. I'm like, But actually, here's the thing. Here's why I actually do like the Old Republic. One thing I do love about the Old Republic. Do you know what it is, Eric?
What's that?
You can be a badass and not have a fucking laser sword.
Yes.
The Imperial Agent is a badass. The Bounty Hunter is a
The bounty
badass.
Bad
The Republic Trooper,
bad
badass.
fucking ass.
The Smuggler, badass.
Yeah. Like
Non-force users are fucking badasses in that game. Yes.
yeah, the towards the end of the bounty hunter story arc, you're facing off against the Jedi consulate that's been giving you all this trouble for a stupendously long amount of time.
Right.
You know how you get them? You lure them into an area, then you jump down from the rafters on your jetpack and fire a rocket at them, and then the duel starts.
Nice.
As the cutscene is you jump down, fire a rocket at him. He turns around and force pushes the rocket so it's not moving, and then you pump his face full of flamethrower, and then the fight starts.
Nice. So yeah, I that's the one thing I like most about that game. It's a flawed MMO because of the way its free to play model really hurts it in a lot of ways.
Oh, its free to play model is just atrociously punishing.
It gimps the free players too much experience, but otherwise there's so much about the game I want to like. But every time I play it, I go, oh, I want to like this game more than I do. The thing is, almost every Star Wars game I play, I end up feeling like that. Like, there's something about it that makes me go, oh, I like this game, but there's something about it just, Like, it's literally, Knights of the Old Republic is the one Star Wars game I've played, and the X-Wing TIE Fighter games. Those are like, that's it. Those are the only Star Wars games I've played where I've been like, I have nothing negative to say about them. Actually, I have one negative thing to say about Knights of the Republic. It's, there's really no good mechanical reason to have anything but Jedi in your party after a certain point in the game.
Mechanical reason, yes.
I'm talking purely from a game design standpoint. From a character standpoint, absolutely, totally. You can have whoever you.
HK-47
is the most overrated character in Star Wars other than Boba Fett. HK-47 is. I feel about him about the same way I feel about Boba Fett. At least it is something effective on screen. But I think he is the most overrated character.
Though. He does something effective on screen, but more importantly, he's fucking hilarious.
I don't find him that funny. I got tired of him really fast.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he's one of them. His humor and writing and dialogue and character is the most overrated thing in the entirety of the Star Wars video game franchise. I don't understand.
You're welcome to that opinion. I found him just. I really enjoyed him.
Mind you, he's not the worst. He's not a bad character. Don't get me wrong. I just think that people go on and on about how amazing he is, and I'm like, he's okay. He's amusing at times, but
I really enjoyed him largely because he was such a counterpoint to everyone telling you to be a good guy, and the should I shoot him for you, Master? After every time he translates is hilarious.
It got grating for me. Actually, it's like, oh god, he's so one note is the problem. Okay, here's the problem. Most of the characters in that game are kind of one note.
Yes.
Outside of basically Jolie and God, what's the character's name? Fuck.
The Mandalorian? No, he's pretty damn one note.
Oh, he's really one note. No, the God, the Twilight girl.
Oh, Mission.
Yeah, I like Mission a lot also. She's adorable.
Mission's adorable, but she's so useless.
That's the problem! I like her as a character, but she's not useful.
Like, HK can at least point a blaster.
Actually, you can build her into sort of semi-effective in combat, but it's not easy. The rest of the characters, like Bastila is fine. She's not great, but she's fine. What's his bucket? The male love interest whose name escapes me.
I only ever played male, so I don't know.
I can't remember his name. He's that forgettable. There's nothing wrong with him. He's just kind of forgettable. The Wookiee's fine. There's nothing wrong with the Wookiee.
Yeah, the Wookiee's pretty cool, actually. I like the Wookiee because he's just so sullen the whole time.
And there's the other female Jedi whose name escapes me also.
Oh, the cat girl.
Yeah. She's okay. But, the problem is that there's, if the HK-47's big advantage is he's memorable.
Yes.
I cannot deny it. He's the most memorable character from that other than Jolie. Those are definitively the two most memorable characters in Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah, he's kind of like Varric from Dragon Age 2. You remember and love Varric because everyone else is kind of bland, with a couple exceptions.
No, Dragon Age 2, the characters aren't bland; they're awful.
Yeah. And then when you play Inquisition, you've got Varric, and he's really pales in comparison to everyone else.
But yeah, yeah. And as to the Star Wars role-playing games, they're all flawed.
There are an awful lot. I haven't played the new Fantasy.
I've not played that one either, but it's proprietary dice, which just causes me inherent pain. I'm just like,
I hate the idea of proprietary dice, but everything I've heard is that it's otherwise good.
It just sounds a little too fiddly in terms of the adding and subtracting dice constantly thing.
That's a mechanic I generally like.
I don't mind it.
Having not played,
I like it on a small
that mechanic,
scale.
but I haven't played it, so they might have gone overboard.
I like that mechanic in Iron Kingdoms, where it's you're going from two, it's a minimum of one realistically, but you generally 2 to 4 dice, and you rarely get anything in either below 2 or above 4.
Right.
Whereas I actually don't really like the amount of dice constantly changing, the way you have to adjust how many dice you're rolling in, say, most like Shadowrun.
I guess the thing is,
you're used to it is the thing.
I'm used to it with Shadowrun. I'm used to it with Shadowrun, and yeah, between Shadowrun and growing up playing both Shadowrun and Warhammer Fantasy, I'm used to rolling big fistfuls of dice.
The thing is, I'm used to rolling big fistfuls of dice because I played Hero System.
Right.
Because I played Champions, but the number of dice I was rolling didn't change very often.
I guess so.
Whereas, in Hero, it's in Shadowrun, it's okay, I got modifiers that reduce my dice by this many, then up this by this many, and I decided to use this many, set this many aside, and it's not a bad mechanic, but it's awfully fiddly.
I guess, like I said, I haven't played.
But yeah, I have no idea how. Right? Yeah, neither have I, and it might be.
I've seen the book. The book is gorgeous. It's got a lot of stuff in there for playing, for playing whatever area you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And what I really like about it, there are no fucking Jedi.
Yep,
I'm sure they've got some supplement out there for playing Jedi and Sith and whatnot out there. But the core book, the Age of the Empire, which is the one I've looked at, no fucking Jedi.
Thumbs up. That's a big plus. My problem is that I've not been a big fan of anything Fantasy Flight split out. So they're not a company that I'm personally a fan of. Not saying they're bad, just not my cup of tea.
I can grok that.
But the D20 Star Wars, there's some aspects of it that are great.
Yeah.
And then there's just how counter Star Wars the combat system ends up being. Because Star Wars, almost nobody uses armor.
Yeah.
Because armor doesn't actually help. For the most part.
But it's a big... But yeah, because you're basing off of D&D, or off of D20, armor's a big deal.
And it's very effective.
Yeah.
You should be wearing armor all the time. And I'm like, but that's not Star Wars. It's so not Star Wars. It just, I bristled against it in the game I played in with Eric.
Yep, I remember.
I flatly refused to wear armor, despite that it hurt my character, because it made no goddamn sense.
Dude, I was a Wookiee wearing powered armor. That should tell you everything about that game.
Yes.
Granted, even if the power armor sucked, I probably still would have ended up wearing it because it's me and powered armor.
Right.
I can only roleplay so much. You can't put the candy in front of me and not expect me to eat it.
Whereas, power armor wasn't a thing, and I mean, like, armor was not very effective in the West End games one.
Right.
Now, the West End game system has some issues. Just the system
More than
itself,
a few.
it's got a few system issues. I overall liked it, but it does have flaws. I prefer it to the D20 system because it feels more like Star Wars.
It's been a really long time, but I remember the West End version left a certain sour note in my...
I can totally get that.
I could probably play it again without too many issues with the right game master and group, but
I would totally.
I thought that about First Ed D&D too, and I ended up hating it. So.
Yeah. Basically, here's my thing with the West End game one. Force users are too powerful, but that's also true in D20. So.
Yeah.
And the mechanic system's a little bit wonky. It creates some weird edge cases. You really do want to buy. You definitely, basically, the things you want to be good at, you definitely want to make sure you actually invest in. Otherwise, you're going to suck.
Right.
That said, the character generation system's a little bit it's not. I want to like it, I really do, but it's really flawed. I had a lot of fun playing it, but it's a flawed system. The real problem I have is every time I look at Star Wars roleplay, I keep going, but why has what? But there's an obvious answer out there.
More blasters.
Oh god, that's the other problem with the Star Wars D21. Oh my god, blasters suck.
Yeah, they really did.
Melee combat is so much better than range combat.
Especially when you're a Wookiee.
Oh my god, yeah.
Like, I'm a bowcaster. It's so much fun. My bowcaster kind of sucks. Screw it. I'll just put a vibro machete on it and go rage at everything.
Yeah, but I really realized, I should just be shooting on stun mode and hoping that people fail their
fort saves.
Saves. I'm better off doing that because I don't get a static modifier. I'm rolling 3d8 damage, but there's 3d8, no plus or minus.
Yep.
Whereas the melee guys are rolling like they're only like 1d6 to 1d8, but they're adding like static modifiers from like all this stuff. And I'm like, wait, their average damage is higher than mine, and they're much more consistent.
Yeah.
Also, they get more attacks per round than I do.
Hasn't made major mechanical changes depending on the genre, and one that just occurred to me was reducing the dice damage on blasters, but giving them static modifiers based on dex and feat support.
Anything like that would have helped, but at any rate, yeah. As I've said many times, if I had the actual energy to do it, I would actually come up with a Star Wars conversion for the feng shui because
which is fucking perfect. Honestly,
it's like from a mechanic standpoint, this is what Star Wars should have been.
Yeah.
Wow. At any rate, we've been running long again because I think we did this last time we talked about Star Wars.
We did this last time we did Star Wars.
I'm going to nip it a little bit in the bud before we go to an hour and a half. We've only been going for an hour 15 so far, roughly. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening to the show. I hope you guys found this entertaining, enlightening, educational, helpful, I don't know, whatever. I hope you had fun with the show, though. We'll be back. We usually save time at the end of each show for viewer questions, obviously. This is sort of sparked by kind of a viewer question, so I guess that counts. We didn't save time for viewer questions this week, and we didn't really get any, so. But if you do have questions you'd like us to answer in the show, be it about role-playing games, video games, movies, comic books, ask away, please. We love getting questions from you guys. You can either email them to us. Our email address is surlygrognards@yahoo.com, surlygrognards@yahoo.com. Or you can post them in our forums, which you can find at mechagm.forumer.com. Or you can post them in the comments if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can post the comments there, questions there. I keep an eye on the comments there, so go for that. Or I guess you could hit me up on Twitter. My Twitter handle's at mechagm. If you've got show topic suggestions for us, please give them to us. We love them. Makes the show much easier to do, and means that we're talking about stuff that you guys want to hear about. So, thumbs up. Uh,
Hooray!
and if you've got feedback for us, ways we can make the show better, things you like about the show, etc., we love all that too. Same places, email, forums, Twitter, on the video, on YouTube comments, what have you. Find some way to get a hold of us. We'll pay attention. We'll definitely there. We'll try to work it into the show some way, maybe, if we can. At any rate, we record the show every Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern here on twitch.tv/MechaGM. Recording the show, go up onto my YouTube channel, which you can find at youtube.com/MechaGM. Odds are, if you're hearing this, you're at one of those two places. Check the other place out. That's going to do it for tonight, though, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all had fun, as I said, and we will see you guys next week. So until we guys see you next, be happy, be safe, keep on gaming, and we'll see you guys soon. Take care, everybody.
Bye, humans.